to order. Good evening and welcome to this Tuesday, September 16th, 2014 meeting of the Raymore Planning and Zoning Commission. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll call roll. Commissioner Anderson.
Present.
And be sure your mics are on and speak into them. Commissioner Burke.
Present.
Commissioner Crane.
Present.
Commissioner Pfizer.
Present.
Commissioner Grodsky.
Present.
Commissioner Hanner. Commissioner Meiske.
Present.
Mayor Kirchhoff.
Present.
And Commissioner Faulkner is present. We certainly do have a quorum this evening. We have no personal appearances scheduled, and before we go further, just to be on the safe side, I would entertain a motion to add case 14032, replat of Remington Commercial 4th plat, to the agenda, if that suits the commission.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Anderson.
make a motion that we include case 14032, replat of Remington Commercial 4th plat, lots 8 and 9, to the agenda.
Second.
And second by Commissioner Burke. So we have a motion by Commissioner Anderson, second by Commissioner Burke to add case 14032. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor raise a hand, please. And we are 8 in favor, none opposed, no abstentions. So we will cover that case in due time. And next on our agenda, we have 2 items on the consent agenda this evening: acceptance of minutes from our September 2nd, 2014 meeting, and case 14028, Westbrook at Creekmore, 10th final plat. And unless any of the commissioners have any concerns about these and want to remove them for discussion, I would entertain a motion either to accept the consent agenda or to accept each individual case as you wish.
Mr. Chair,
And Commissioner Anderson.
move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Anderson, second by Commissioner Grodsky to accept consent agenda as presented. All those in favor raise a hand, please. Thank you. And we are 8 in favor, none opposed, no abstentions. And switching over to the new agenda here, try to keep myself straight. We have nothing this evening in old business, so that moves us along to case 14032, replat of Remington Commercial 4th plat, lots 8 and 9. And Mr. Carteret, if you'd like, present the case to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and thank you for allowing this to be added to the agenda. Just a brief explanation as to where the property's at and why this is being presented to you in the format it is this evening. The Remington Commercial 4th plat is land area, and the 2 lots that we're specifically looking at, Lot 8 and Lot 9, are 2 lots of land that are located directly to the west of the Country Club Bank building between on the north side of 58 Highway, between 58 Highway and Remington Plaza. To the east, there's a existing commercial building that faces Loris Drive. There's a orthodontist office in that building as well. These are 2 lots that are part of the Remington commercial development, have been vacant for, obviously, since the area was being developed. The 2 lots are still owned by George Ward, who was the initial developer of the Remington commercial development area. And for some time, staff has been working with 2 individuals that were wanting to build on Lot 9. which is the east lot of the two. And these individuals have done quite a bit of site work as far as preparation work for site plan submittal and purchasing the land and going through all their due diligence. And when it came time for closing, it became apparent to all of us. I hadn't picked up on it, but it became apparent to the lender that the actual recorded plat, which is at the first drawing, which says Remington Commercial 4th Plat, lots 7 through 10.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see lot 8 and lot 9 are identified on that plat drawing. But what is missing from that are specific bearings and dimensions for the lots. You have it for the perimeter of the site. You do not see the bearings and distances for the actual lot lines that make up both lot 8 and lot 9. So there's no specific way to know the exact dimensions of those two lots. Became a real issue when it came time to close on lot 9, and it has prompted some quick action by the landowner, by staff, by Matt Schlicht, who is with Engineering Solutions.
Mm-hmm.
That firm is actually the firm that has taken ownership of all the drawings and information that came from Mace Engineering that did the initial plat. So Matt had the benefit in his firm of having all the information that came about in creating the initial 4th plat, but for whatever reason, the information didn't get actually put onto the plat that was recorded. What we need to do is correct that. What we are not able to do this evening is correct it for all of the lots. And as we know, lot 10's already been developed with Country Club Bank.
Yeah.
Lot 7's already been developed with 4 office buildings as well as the Pathways building. And in order to include those lots in the replat, we needed to get ownership, signatures and all that, and it wasn't necessary to replat those lots. But it is necessary to replat lot 8 and 9. Right. So George Ward, of course, has agreed to that. Matt Schlicht, the engineer, has submitted this replat for lots 8 and 9. It has all the necessary information on there, including lot area, dimensions, the bearings for all the lot lines. Staff has reviewed it for accuracy, and it is in a format that can be reviewed, approved, and recorded. Again, being a replat, it needed to go through the process. It needed to come to the commission. It needs to go to city council. But the urgency of it, again, most of this happening over the last couple of days with the planning commission meeting tonight, I thought it was appropriate.
Sure.
There's really no review that was necessary, so it's appropriate to bring to your attention this evening with hopes that we can pass on a recommendation to council and we'll add it onto their agenda for Monday evening.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Catarat. So just to double check and remind myself, since this is final plat, don't believe it requires public hearing. I think we're fine.
That's correct, no public hearing.
Fine to move forward. And just looking at this very quickly, I noticed the old plat, which I would identify carrying the date of July 2003, but the old plat, lots 7 through 10, on the west side of lot 8 identified 292.01 feet, now identifies 242, but of course that difference is the 50-foot right-of-way for the road.
That's correct.
And so it does look like it is functionally identical to what was there before. We've simply added the missing information.
That's correct. That's how we saw it upon our review.
Right. Okay. Commissioners have any questions or discussions on this case?
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
I have
Commissioner
one question.
Leisky.
And then we'll get this again when we replat the rest of the Remington.
Well, I don't believe there will be a replat for the rest of Remington. I think, again, with the development that's occurred, the plats, there had already been a replat of part of Lot 7 with the pathways and with the office buildings.
Right.
And with the bank already being constructed on Lot 10, it must not have been an issue for when they moved forward with theirs. So there will be no further replats of the area, but you will be seeing a site plan for Lot 9, which is what's
Okay.
prompted this action this evening is they were looking to close this week. They can't close without a replat being recorded, so.
Okay.
But I would expect a site plan coming forward for your review on Lot 9 in the near future.
Okay.
Right, and if I may, Mr. Carteret, Mr. Eanes, correct me if I'm wrong, but I note on the replat, which is the new one identified, just lots 8 and 9, but I note that many of those lot corners are identified with the notation found 1/2 inch rebar and cap. So when they say found, I believe that those stakes already exist from prior surveys. So it would appear on lots 8 and 9, it would appear that the 4 corners of lots 8 and 9 together were previously staked. And so nothing, there's no ambiguity there. It looks like the only addition is the fact that between lots 8 and 9, the front and back corner have the notation set 1/2 inch rebar. So Engineering Solutions has staked the line between them, so now that it's clear, but it looks like the two together were pretty well defined by the surrounding properties and prior surveys. It looks like what this really does is identifies the line between them unambiguously.
Yep,
That
that's
sound
correct,
about
sir.
right?
Yep.
Okay,
Mr. Chair,
yeah, oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Burke.
I have a question for Mr. Carteret. I know we're looking at lots 8 and 9, but I also notice lots 11, 12, 13, and 14. Have those already been approved? I've just not seen those.
Yes, those were approved. What you're seeing in this drawing is, it's reflecting that those lots, which were part of the 4th plat, became the 5th plat.
Okay.
And so, yeah, those lots have been replatted. And then where the pathways is, that land area was replatted, became, I believe that's the 6th plat, if I read
Thank you.
that correctly.
I understand now. Thank you.
A lot of history there. Good questions, all. Any other questions or comments from the commission? Okay. Anyone care to make a motion? And I guess we don't have our suggested text, so I suppose we could make a motion to accept case 14032, replat of Remington Commercial 4th Plats, Lot 8 and 9, and forward to, and this is a final plat, and forward to City Council with a recommendation of approval. Mr. Carteret, how'd that sound?
Yes, that sounds good,
So
thank you.
I so move.
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Meiske. So motion by Commissioner Faulkner, second by Commissioner Meiske, to accept case 14032 and forward to City Council with recommendation of approval. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, raise a hand, please. 7, 8, and that's 8 of us in favor. None opposed, no abstentions. So, Mr. Carteret, I hope that keeps everybody happy. Seems like we were happy enough with it.
Yeah, well, thank you, and again, I know it was, it's very much appreciated by the property owner and the individuals that will be looking to build there, so it does help their cause very much, thank you.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of a business might locate there. Sometimes I feel like we're always the last to know. All right, let's see. So that actually takes us to City Council report. Mr. Eanes, would you like to give us the City Council report? Or Mr. Carteret? Okay, thank you. Mr. Carteret, we'll give that to you.
I will start, and we'll start with, there's been 2 meetings of interest since your last Planning Commission meeting. First, I'll go over the September 8th regular meeting agenda for the council. A number of items of interest to the commission were on the agenda. These were all second reading items, so final action. Council did unanimously approve the 19th Amendment to the UDC, which was stream buffer protection amendments. They unanimously approved the 20th Amendment to the UDC regarding our new Chapter 451 stormwater treatment. They also approved the final plats for Benton House of Raymore and for Edgewater and Creekmore, their 4th final plat, as well as the 10th plat for the Brookside subdivision. It also of importance that the second reading was the second reading approval of the appointment of Jim Fiorborn as city manager. So he's officially took the oath and officially in his duties as city manager now. And I think those are the items I had for September 8th. The second meeting to go over was a special council meeting that was just held on Saturday morning, September 13th.
Oh, right.
This particular meeting was held in order to do the public hearings that were required as part of the UDC requirement that sidewalk be installed on developed lots. And this was a code provision we worked on as a commission when we adopted the UDC. It was amended in 2012, became effective on January 1st of this year. So 5 years after we adopted this requirement, it actually became effective. And the requirement, it reads that if you own a undeveloped lot on a street wherein over at least 66% of the lots have been developed with a home and sidewalk, then you are required to install the sidewalk on the undeveloped lot. The whole theory behind that is sidewalks are needed in developing subdivisions, and we have developing subdivisions that have a number of homes being constructed, but there's a lot or two without sidewalk. You create a gap, and there's no continuous sidewalk segment. So it's a very progressive program. I know of 2 other communities that have the ordinance requirement, but nobody else enforces it. And so we took the step of a city council of commencing enforcement. In January, we sent notification out to 89 property owners that had until August 1st. Those that didn't comply with the ordinance, and comply with the ordinance is either you install the sidewalk or you obtain a permit to build a home, and then the sidewalk comes as part of the home. After the August 1st deadline, we then sent notices of a public hearing that was set for Saturday. And at the public hearing, by the time we had the public hearing, we were down to a total of 64 lots that had not either had a sidewalk installed or a permit issued. So we held 64 separate public hearings where City Council made a determination on each one of whether to install sidewalk or not. There were a few lot owners that were there that provided justification to the council as to why they wanted an extension of time. And so for, I believe, 5 or 6 of the lots, they granted, in essence, what turned out to be a 1-year extension, simply meaning that those lots will be added to the list that we've already started for 2015. What happens, once we reach January 1st of this year, we closed off the list for those that were required, but there were additional permits that were issued this year in developing subdivision that triggered more lots to occur. We already had 20 on the list. So the 5 that the council provided the extension to will be added to the list for next year. So they'll be notified on around January 1st of 2015. They'll have to install the sidewalk by August 1st of 2015, and the same cycle will occur. Okay, this is an annual program that we will administer. So what that means is there are approximately 60 lots that the city council did decide that the city should install sidewalk on. And although some of those 60 lots, I do want to indicate the owners have come forward and said they would install the sidewalk or will be pulling a permit before what we indicated as the earliest date the city would do it, which is April 1st of 2015.
Yeah.
So everybody had an extension until April 1st, no matter what. Felt it was important that we're going to go through the process, select our contractor, get everything ready, but we're not going to allow them to start until April 1st. So we've told everyone that that is the official deadline that you have to have the sidewalk installed. And if If you have a permit or a sidewalk installed, we'll just cross you off the list. If you don't, we're gonna be installing the sidewalk. During the months of April, May, and June, we would then bill the property owner for whatever cost we have, based upon the bid that we have, and then we would add that cost as a special assessment to the property taxes.
Right.
So that's the process we'll go through. But again, of the 60 lots, council made the decision to install sidewalk. There are quite a few of the lots that the builder or the owners have indicated, though, they will either install the sidewalk or pull a permit. So that list will shrink as the months go on before April 1st. We will proceed with getting the bids and moving forward with that project. So. So that's what occurred on Saturday. It was, our first time through it, and I
Right.
thought it went very smoothly for having
Right.
60-some public hearings.
Yeah, that sounds daunting.
Didn't know what to expect. We did have, one of the things that we did do that I thought was beneficial is notify the homeowners that live next to the undeveloped lots.
Sure.
And the intent there was, it affects them most directly, but they would spread the word in their
Right.
neighborhood if they felt it was important to have sidewalks. So we heard from a number of the lot owners
Right.
that they did want sidewalk. In fact, one resident appeared hoping for sidewalks, in their neighborhood. So we'll continue that as well.
Sure.
It's not built into our ordinance to notify, but I think it's just a good common practice to
Right.
let people know what we're trying to do.
Well, and I think, one of the drivers obviously was safety for kids playing, walking to school, whatever. I think the basis for the provision in the UDC was very solid. By the same token, I think city's been very generous in delaying enforcement and allowing extensions. So it does seem to me to be a reasonable balance.
And one thing, and it's very true, and one of the things that in my mind helps to justify the entire program is that the city is not pushing the installation of sidewalks just on private property owners. We have taken a very progressive
Right.
stance when we started our sidewalk program back in 2007 to fill in gaps and now to put sidewalk where there is no sidewalk. Identified as to city council, we spent over $1.8 million just since 2007 installing sidewalk.
Yeah.
So we're doing as a city,
Sure.
what we feel is necessary, and we'll continue that program. But this is a great step in the developing subdivisions of getting, property owners enough lead time to know they have the requirement, but as well of making sure that we have continuity of sidewalks. And as you remember, I know Chairman Faulkner and Commissioner Crane, when we went through the discussions, it was the builders and developers that kind of wanted the program set up this way. Of course, in their mind, they thought in 3 years they'll have all their lots sold.
Right, yeah,
Then,
the
how
economy,
about another 2 years?
the economy fooled us
It was hard for them to
considerably,
stand in
but-
front of council, and they didn't say,
yeah.
give us more time. It was individual lot owners that
Yeah.
were wanting a little bit of time. Somebody that had bought a lot but wasn't able to build yet wanted
Sure.
a little more time.
As you've described the process, it seems like, there was some judgment used, some common sense. I think that's good.
I think that's fair.
So I'm glad to hear that and appreciate your feedback on that process. Anything else on pipeline?
Well, that was it
Oh.
on the council report.
Council report, we're still there, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to give the floor back to you again for a staff report and planning pipeline.
Just two things on the pipeline. Our next meeting is October 7th. We currently do not have any items scheduled for that meeting. And, but we do have a few things that are, that will be in the works, but probably won't be ready for October 7th. Our meeting after that would be October 21st. And just looking even further ahead, our first meeting in November is automatically canceled. That is the election night.
Election night,
So we
okay.
already set that up in our calendar to not have our meeting the first Tuesday in November on election day.
So would you suggest that we could cancel our October 7th meeting and meet on the 21st of October?
That seems reasonable, being
Okay.
on the 21st, and we'll plan on that.
Okay. Commissioners, does anyone object to that idea? No? Okay, so we'll cancel October 7th. We'll meet on October 21st.
I probably should also indicate before we make that commitment that October 20th, Monday night, is the proposed joint work session with City Council. So it may mean back-to-back meetings for the Planning Commission. October 20th
Right.
is, again, a scheduled joint work session with City Council. I know we have, mentioned it before. We are looking for discussion topics for that evening.
Right.
We already know of 2 items that will be discussed. One of them dealing with, in general, with urban animals, but more specifically dealing with whether or not the city UDC should be amended regarding the keeping of chickens on lots in the city other than A or RE.
Right, right.
The second topic that was discussed would be, or intended to be discussed, would be accessory dwelling units. We had this discussion, as you remember, a few months, not that long ago, in
Right,
2014.
I do remember.
But the discussion now is, we only allowed accessory dwelling units in the A, RR, and RE. There is some interest in discussing whether we should allow them at some level or maybe under some approval process on smaller lots in our R1 and
Well, so,
other zoning districts.
not that I want to renege on canceling our October 7th meeting. Is there any need for commission to meet between now and then and develop any additional discussion points? Or are we good with the joint meeting with City Council on the 20th and then our next meeting on the 21st? I don't necessarily have any other pressing items that I would propose to add, but it sounds like we're certainly willing to consider those.
And if a topic comes up, just let myself know, and
So,
can certainly bring it up.
one question, I mean, we always get a packet toward the end of the week prior to a Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Do you anticipate that there will be any such similar reminder for the joint meeting with City Council?
Yes, you'll get a packet for that meeting as well. It'll be
Okay.
the same material council gets, and there will be material about both topics that I've already mentioned.
Oh, sure.
From staff.
Sure.
We will provide material.
And anything else that council might wish to add between now and then?
Yes.
Sure, okay. And it's a little unusual, so I thought a memory jogger, especially since that's a month from now, memory jogger is always a big help. Okay, what else, Mr. Cartwright?
That's all I have, sir.
Okay. Do commissioners have any questions or anything about that? We'll move on. It's time for public comment. And seeing no public other than city staff this evening, I'll move on to commission member comment. Commissioner Burke?
No comment.
Commissioner Anderson?
No comment.
Commissioner Crane?
No comment.
Commissioner Grodzki?
No comment.
Commissioner Pfizer?
I would like to say something.
Good, thank you.
Mix it up a little. I was here Saturday for the city council meeting because I'm one of the people who has an empty lot next to me. And actually, it went really well. Everyone was very sidewalk friendly, so I didn't even need all my little why we need sidewalks. But I'm just happy to know that finally, after 5 years, we'll have a sidewalk, so we don't feel like the kid at the lunch table that nobody wants to sit next to. So I just want to thank the council for their sidewalk work.
Good. Well, and we appreciate that feedback as well. Commissioner Meiske
No comment.
and Mayor Kirkhoff, surely you.
Yeah, I'll just, a couple of comments about the Saturday meeting, about the gap-filling sidewalks. 7, 8 years ago, we didn't have this problem. Things were going up so quickly that the sidewalks went in right after the buildings appeared, so. And then, as everybody is aware, the economy slowed dramatically, so, and there are people that have been waiting patiently for sidewalks to connect their properties. The council had a bit of a chore in front of them because there were 60-plus public hearings. It was eased dramatically by the materials that were provided by city staff to the council. Each one of the properties had a little map and some comments about what was around it and that sort of thing. And it helped both the council to make decisions on those properties that sidewalks should be installed in right now, as well as able to delay the installation of sidewalks for those lots that the owners were saying, well, we're getting ready to build, give us a little bit of time, so. And it did go rather well. For the first time out of the chute, I was very pleased, so. And that's all I've got.
Great. Well, good to hear that. I'll be very brief. City staff, thank you for being here. As always, thank you for your support. And it probably isn't showing up on camera, but the acoustic work in city council chambers is partway finished, looks very nice, and I think I can tell that the sound is improved as well, or at least I sound a little more bass than usual. So I would note we're going to hold a brief work session immediately following the regular meeting, and unless anyone has anything else for this formal meeting, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Do we need to adjourn to a work session?
Adjourn to a work session.
Yeah. Thank
Second.
you. So that was motion by Commissioner Crane, second by Commissioner Burke to adjourn to a work session. And unless there's any discussion, all those in favor raise a hand, please. And we are 8 in favor, none opposed, no abstentions. Shall we move? I guess we shall.
I guess chickens are gonna be the hot topic for a while.